2. Check 1, 2. What up? It's Trent Out Loud, and I'm back with another episode. All right, y'all. I have a great show set up for you guys today. And you know I'm extra excited because it's Friday! I had a long week this week, but we have finally made it. And I have a great show set up for y'all. In breaking news, Nancy Mace threatens to expose the Epstein client list. In our lead stories, Don Lemon pleads not guilty, and Nicki Minaj promotes the SAVE Act. In quick news, we're going to talk Donald Trump, Michelle Obama, Stefon Diggs, Nancy Guthrie, and Beyoncé is back on IG. New for the past couple of weeks, we're going to go right to the comment section right after quick news. So we see y'all commenting. We're going to go right and chat to you guys. And then, as always, we're going to close out the show with lesson of the day. Y'all know what time it is. Turn your TVs, radio, your devices up. It's Friday. I'm about to start this show. Let's go. All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone's excited. I don't normally do horns right away, but because it's Friday. What up? All right. I hope y'all are in a good mood and excited for the weekend. I'm going to try to keep the show a little bit shorter because I'm sure you guys must want to go out and have some fun and explore your weekend. But there are a couple of important developments over the past 24 hours that I need to get you guys up to date with, okay? Before we start the show, just wanted to do a little bit of programming note. We are streaming live. Welcome to everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Kick. Just want to let you guys know at the top of the show, for those of you who are on YouTube, either live now or after, we do have 2 streams going. We have a mobile stream and we have a laptop TV stream landscape. If you are watching this on your computer or you're watching this on your TV and you see 2 black boxes beside me, you're on the wrong stream. If you have 2 black boxes, you should be watching that stream on your cell phone, okay? We try to let you guys know which stream is which. You see a little phone beside the title, and an M in brackets stands for mobile. So once again, 2 streams going, either live or after. The perfect way to see is that if you're on your laptop or your TV and there's a black box beside me, you are on the wrong stream, okay? Make sure you watch the TV, laptop stream, or phone, all right? Okay, let's jump right into things. Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace was on Piers Morgan. And of course, you know, everybody is talking about the Epstein list still. I have been very adamant of saying, yes, of course, I support the release of the Epstein list. And I mean, for years now, content creators have been the ones pushing for this. And of course, Donald Trump back in the day was the one pushing for it to use it on a campaign trail. And now that he is in the White House and he has control of the DOJ and he has control of the FBI, he is doing some really, really shady things. Joe Rogan has come out and dragged him, and a bunch of other people on the content creator right side of things, the MAGA content creators. And I have always said, well, I shouldn't say I've always said it. For the past couple of months, I have been saying, as excited as I am for the law to get passed and then the 30 days until we got the files and then getting the files, I have always said I find it very hard to believe that it will ever be to a point where they're going to release everything unredacted for us to fully get to the bottom of this, because what is in those files are Republicans, Democrats, and powerful people that Donald Trump and the Democratic and Republican Party cannot afford to bring down, because you're bringing down the entire infrastructure. And it would almost be like, think of you as, you know, getting in trouble at work, but you're the CEO and you're the boss. pretend there's no board of directors in anything. Like, you are in charge of your own process. Like, that would be like, yeah, you're going to fire yourself and just let the other C-suite executives run the company. It's just not going to happen. Nancy Mace is alluding to this exact same thing that I'm referring to. But this is why I put this in breaking news. She is encouraging some of the senators and the people in the House that are able to see the unredacted files to start speaking out, which would be breaking the law. But if enough senators and enough House members start breaking the law, what are they going to do? Arrest all 500 or 600 of them? I mean, it's Donald Trump, so it's possible. But they do have access to the unredacted files. We talked about that. We talked about that yesterday. And it's up to them what they do with it. Listen to Nancy Mace.
Names that I have seen that came across the DOJ in emails that the DOJ is protecting. And we're talking about people on both sides of the aisle. We're talking about famous people, rich people, people in power, prime ministers, former presidents, et cetera, media personalities that are named in these files. And that's why I say this is going to go down as the greatest cover-up, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history. And I don't believe the girls are actually going to see justice, which is why it's going to be incumbent upon people like Democrat Ro Khanna, Republican Thomas Massey. I'm a Republican myself who's willing to name some of those names in our committee work, on the floor of the House, whatever it takes, because this kind of thing cannot continue to go on. I want to give the next girl hope that when she comes forward, she won't be shamed. Her life won't be smeared in the Daily Mail or whatever the next press, is going to do. What they do to female victims and to children is disgusting, because they're protecting the rich and powerful.
So there you go. Like I said, they're all about protecting the rich and powerful, the prime ministers, the royal people, the MAGA people, the Republican people, the independent people. There are so many people that are in that file that they cannot release it. However, the new people, the people who are not Bush, Clinton, et cetera, could come out and say something. So we'll watch it close. Nancy Mace has always been very, very outspoken, and we shall see. We shall see what comes of this. Okay. We just want to put that in breaking news. Let's go over now to the talk of the moment, which is Don Lemon and Nicki Minaj. Okay. Don Lemon, Nicki Minaj. Let's start out with Don Lemon. As you guys are aware, for those who follow me,
he's not actually.
Sorry about that. For those who follow me daily, you know that I went out to Minnesota past weekend, and I was there Monday for the original Don Lemon case. It got postponed till today. Okay. Don Lemon has pled not guilty. I have gone to a lot of extents to speak about this already, but I'm still going to break it down, especially the fact that today was the official day that he put in his plea. Okay. Now, what I want to do is just literally just go over and let you guys know what Don Lemon was charged with. Okay. Charged with 2 counts: conspiring to violate religious freedoms at a place of worship, and 2, violating the FACE Act, which prohibits interfering with one's right to practice religion. Now, those are the charges. I want to break down and go over what the FACE Act is, just so that when I come to the comment section and we could discuss this, we could go over the facts. Y'all know that I love to deal with facts and receipts, not someone's opinion. Okay, so just please listen close to this. The FACE Act is a federal law that was passed in 1994 that protects not only health clinics, but also places of worship. Under the law, it is a federal crime to use force, threats of force, or physically obstruct somebody with the intent to injure, intimidate, or interfere with people because they are attending or providing service at or exercising their religious place of worship. Okay. Now, the law protects church members attending the church service, clergies and church staff, people entering and leaving the church and the religious facility. It also makes it illegal to intentionally damage or destroy a place of worship because of its religious character. Examples of violation, this is very key here: blocking church doors to prevent somebody from entering, threatening violence against the churchgoers, physically attacking somebody because they are going to worship, or vandalizing a church due to its religious identity. Peaceful protest outside the church is still protected by the First Amendment, but once it involves force, threats, obstruction, or intentional damage, it can trigger the FACE Act. Okay, so we all know that they were protesting inside. So this is really where the details of this case are going to be one unlost for me, and also to the video that Don took at the parking lot outside before entering the church. And I will get to that, okay? So the law says that although you cannot use force, threats of force, or physical obstruction, you can still protest, although the line is gray, because protesting can be interpreted as intimidation, okay? But it does not block protesting. Okay, just want to make sure of that. Now, let's go over to some details now that we know that we really want to focus on intimidation and force. This is the first time the FACE Act has ever been used against a person in a religious setting. This act was really for health clinics. So this is the first time that anybody in the law and the DOJ is using this in a church setting. So this will be setting a precedent. By the way, it's harder to do when it's the first time. If somebody's already been charged, or if 10 different people have already been charged, it would be precedent. It's very, very hard to be the first of something. There's a reason why. Since 1994, close to 30 years, how come no one's ever been charged with that? So it'll be hard to charge the first person. Very important to note. The press is provided access to events. That is part of the First Amendment Act. Now, if the press is covering an act, let's say outside, and while they're covering the act, they're technically jaywalking, which is illegal. Not many police officers will give somebody a ticket for jaywalking, but this is just an example. Typically, if the officer is giving a jaywalking ticket, they won't give it to the press member who's literally just covering the press people who are breaking the law. The people who are breaking the law will, but the people who are the press who is jaywalking will not get a ticket. That is just part of the unofficial law. Let's just put it that way, okay? So press has been known to be given grace or a gray zone because they are there to cover events. So getting back to Dawn now, what they're going to have to try to prove is, was Dawn aware that they were going to go in and cause any sort of force or any sort of intimidation? This is what they are going to have to prove. Now, they will have to prove that with intent. They will have to see, are there any text messages or videos or emails that show proof that Don Lemon knew that these protesters were going inside the church to intimidate or to force anybody. We already know he's not on video doing that because we have his own video, and we also have what's her name again? Georgia. I forgot her last name. The other journalist who's also convicted with him. I'm sure you guys will tell me in the comment section. But I have always given the example of, hey, if somebody is breaking the law and I'm walking in with them to break the law, me as a YouTuber, do I get charged because I'm walking in with them. But the more and more I look into this and the more and more it's brought to light, the FACE Act is not breaking the law when they're walking into the church. So that means Don can walk into church with them. We've even given the example of if I see some bank robbers that are in a parking lot and I walk in with them and they're armed and they're robbing the bank, can I cover them on my YouTube channel? But you see, that act of walking in the bank armed, that's already breaking the law. So yes, I probably would, and I probably wouldn't be able to be covered under the First Amendment Act. But now that we know that the act is not walking into the church and the act is not the protesting, the act is the intimidation and force. Now, Don entering in with them, he's not breaking the law. The law is only broken when there's intimidation or force. And at that time, we see Don away from the protesters filming and he's questioning people. So that is, to me, and I can't wait to come into the comment section, but that to me should prove that he is not guilty of that. And sorry, I forgot to say this at the top. Myself as a content creator, as a journalist, as a YouTuber, I am totally on Don's side, okay? I just got to make that clear. Sometimes when I talk about the law and I get very technical, some of you think that I am, for or against. But when I'm talking the law, I'm just talking the law. But just my opinion, I think he should be found not guilty. I don't even think he should be charged. But let's get back to the facts. When I first spoke about this, the first day that he got arrested, I had said one big piece of evidence that I feel can work against Don is the fact that he was outside in the parking lot with the organizer, and it was actually a parking lot that was a couple of miles away from the church. So for me, Don was aware what they were about to do, filmed it, and know they were going to do it. But again, unless they told Don or they have him on tape saying, we are going to go in and intimidate or use force inside, then they don't have a case. And it was never said that. It was said on tape, we are going to go in and protest at an undisclosed location. So again, Don, yes, knew that they were going to protest. Yes, he was aware of it outside in the parking lot. But the law is not about the protest. The law is about the intimidation or force. So again, unless there's a text message the day before saying, hey, Don, we're going to go and intimidate churchgoers. We're going to go and use force. We're going to go and block the doors. And Don was like, cool, I'm going to come with you guys. See, that would be guilty. But hey, we're going to go protest. We don't know where you're going to go protest. Okay, let me drive with you. We're walking in. I'm not breaking the law. As soon as you intimidate or force, that's breaking the law. So I feel very comfortable now to say, after weeks of digging and looking and talking and listening to Fox and CNN and consulting with some lawyers, and the reason why it took so long to get to this for me personally, and also for people who I spoke to, is that, like I told you in the beginning, this is unprecedented. There has never been an American that was charged under the FACE Act for a church. So there was a lot of gray areas, but I feel more than comfortable right now to say that Don Lemon, probably it won't even get to court, and I think things will probably just even get thrown out. Here is Don Lemon's court coverage, outside of the courtroom. Take a listen.
This is about all journalists, especially here in the United States. First off, I'd like to thank everyone again for their support, to my colleagues, countless journalists around the world, the Lemon Nation, my family and my friends. You all have showed up for me in a real way, and I am extremely grateful for that. I feel it, I feel it, I feel it. For more than 30 years, I've been a journalist, and the power and protection of the First Amendment has been the underpinning of my work. The First Amendment, the freedom of the press, the bedrock of our democracy. The events before my arrest and what's happened since show that people are finally realizing what this administration is all about. The process is the punishment with them. And like all of you here in Minnesota, the great people of Minnesota, I will not be intimidated. I will not back down. I will fight these baseless charges, and I will not be silenced. Thank you very much.
I don't know why the organizers in the back were leading, like cheering going on. I'm assuming they just didn't know that Don was talking because they're there in support of him, but they're like yelling as he's doing this press conference. All right, so just to read to you, the formalities happened today. Don Lemon walked into federal court this morning and said 2 words loud and clear: not guilty. The charges stem from his arrest last month tied to a protest at a Minnesota church, and now the legal drama is officially in motion. As we previously reported, federal prosecutors are coming at Don with 2 charges: conspiracy to violate someone's constitutional rights and violating the FACE Act. Prosecutors claim that Lemon and independent journalist Georgia Fort, that's the name I was trying to remember, Georgia Fort, were part of what they describe as a takeover style attack at City's church back on January the 18th. According to the feds, anti-ICE protesters rushed into the church mid-service, interrupted worship, and Lemon and Fort live streamed the chaos. The government says churchgoers were intimidated. Lemon says he was doing his job. I'm a journalist, and he's been consistent about that. Okay, so you hear the government is saying they rushed in and intimidated. Now, unless they can prove on camera that Don was intimidating someone, he will not get charged. Unless they could prove that he knew prior to entering that they were going to be intimidating churchgoers, he will get found not guilty. Unless they have text messages, videos, or an email with the organizer saying, we are going in with the intent to force or intimidate, Don Lemon will walk free. With these facts that I now have and now fully understanding, I don't even think this has enough legs to go to trial. That's just my opinion. And let's not forget that the DOJ has gone to 1 magistrate judge. They said, no, there's not enough to charge him. They also went to an appeals judge where they're at an appeals court where there's 3 judges. All 3 judges voted to say, no, we're not going to press charges against Don Lemon. So that is 4 judges. The only reason why they were able to press these charges against Don Lemon is that they brought in a grand jury. And for those who know what the grand jury process is, there's a joke in the legal world that says you can indict a ham sandwich with a grand jury. Okay, that's actually a known thing in America. Now, what does that mean? Is that you don't have to have really any evidence. You can literally indict a ham sandwich. Why? Because Don Lemon is not there. His lawyer is not there. All the facts don't need to be presented. You could bring in 12 people, tell them basically whatever you want, and just say, hey, do you think this is enough to charge them? They're like, I guess if what you're saying is true, you don't have to prove anything. You could say pretty much whatever you want. And the grand jury just has to vote yes. And then now you can go out and press charges against somebody. It's crazy. They should change it, but it is that easy. All right. So that is the Don Lemon trial. If I'm not mistaken, the next court appearance is April the 1st. If there is anything to cover out there, I will definitely go back out there. Shout out to Minnesota. We've already talked about this yesterday, how much I love Minnesota. So I will definitely go back. I saw Don today. I was watching parts of his lives, and he was like, yo, it's so much warmer there. I was just there last weekend. It was freezing. So happy to know that it's gotten a little bit warmer. So I'm sure April the 1st will be a little bit nicer out there. All right. Okay. Let's move on now to our next lead story, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is making a plea to her fan base to say yes to the SAVE Act. Nicki Minaj continues to push her fans to back Trump's Save America Act, aimed at changing voter rules and requiring voters to have ID. She says this is common sense. This is a common sense act, and it's the common sense party. Listen to Nicki Minaj, and then we'll break it down.
One thing you have to know about the Barbs. So I knew that when I, was out there asking for stuff today. Yes, I was asking for y'all. I was asking y'all to help me today. Okay. Anyway, and still am with the Save America Act, which is the Common Sense Act. I would say this is the Common Sense Party too. Oh, absolutely. I would say this is the Common Sense Act And this is the common sense party. Okay? Because at what point, first of all, do you know how many people don't even know and didn't know until now that millions and millions of people have been voting with no voter ID, with no ID? Like, so many people, y'all, did not know that.
Nicki talks with a lot of breaks. Okay, so she also put this out. She says, just to add this one little tidbit, Black people have IDs because they know their Black ASS is more likely to be pulled over or stopped in the street. Stop using Black people and married women in your shenanigans and say what you really mean. You really mean illegal immigrants so that you could cheat American citizens out of a fair election. Okay, I think I'm done now. Barbs, you know what to do, and you know I normally don't do this, but it must be done. Trust, I love you. Okay, so that's Nicki Minaj. So let me read to you guys just a little bit of details about the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act overview and facts. The SAVE Act would require all Americans to prove their citizenship with documents unavailable to millions and upend the way every American citizen registers to vote. Okay, so that is just the truth. Now, as you guys know, I watch both CNN and Fox News, and I was watching CNN yesterday, Abby Phillips' Nightline, because there's both Republicans and Democrats there, and Abby had something to say that I thought was really, really smart. There's both opinions here, right? Where it's like, hey, it's just kind of common sense, right? You're going to vote. You should just bring your ID, because who are you really who are voting? You don't want to just come up and just have any old person vote. But like I just read to you, the unfortunate thing is that not any sort of ID will work. And the IDs that are going to be required, not every American has access to that or even has one. For example, like there are a lot of Americans that don't have their passport, a lot of Americans that have no clue where their birth certificate is, et cetera, et cetera. But Abby said something that I thought made sense. Since this is the government, the United States of America, the most powerful government in the world, why not have them, especially the fact that they are in control of all these documents, why not have the government and the people at the polls register the people? Have them do the check. I'm going to come up and say, hey, this is John Brown. And John Brown, the government should have access to validate John Brown. Because you have my birth certificate, or you not have my passport, but you have information to know if I'm a citizen or not. So while I'm not saying that I want illegal immigrants to vote, or somebody who doesn't have a right to vote, but why this is such an issue is that there will be some American citizens and there will be some Americans that don't have the proper paperwork that actually really have the right to vote. And some of them won't even bother going, or some of them, it's going to take so long they won't even have it on time. So if the government is really, really focused on making sure, they should be the ones validating the people. And don't forget, this is ran by the state, not federal, so Donald Trump won't be able to interfere with that. I can't wait to come to the comment section and let me know, and for you guys to let me know what you think about that. Okay, that's it with lead stories. Let's go over to quick news. We're going to talk a Trump nominee that got exposed on national TV. Michelle Obama explains why her saying, when we go low, they go high, is kind of changing. She's not really admitting to it, but she's changed it a bit. Stefon Diggs could face jail time if he pleads not guilty. Nancy Guthrie update. And also, Beyoncé is back on IG. Let's go over to quick news right now. All right, let's jump into one of Donald Trump's nominees was in front of the Senate and got exposed. He was trying to explain American culture and literally got caught up because he was really just trying to talk about preserving white culture, which is not, what the Constitution says, or the promise of America. It's not just white culture. It should be American culture. Listen to how he gets caught up. Take a listen.
Your beliefs is a sentiment that...
Oops, I'm very sorry about that. Sorry, I'm back. I forgot to remove Nicki Minaj. My bad. Here we go.
Is just simply better.
Trump's White House nationalist nominee gets exposed on national television. I know there are a lot of people that are up in arms about this, but you want to know what the silver lining is? At least they're saying the quiet part out loud again, like they did 50, 60 years ago.
Tell me how you define white identity and what you think is being erased about white identity.
Certain types of Anglo-derived culture that comes from our history.
Like what?
Let me think about this. Senator, I would say if you were to look at the book by one of your former Senate colleagues, Born Fighting, about the sort of Scotch-Irish military culture and certain, pride that went with that, that would be one example. Obviously, you could have sub-elements of that culture. You could have Italians, you could have Irish, and those are in many ways more.
Yeah, but you're worried about white culture. You're not worried about, you're now retreating to ethnic identity. You don't speak about ethnic identity. You speak about white identity. So tell me the values that stitch together white identity and that make it different than black identity.
I would say that the white church is very different than the black church in terms of its tone and style on average. Foodways could often be different.
And those
music could be different.
And those are being erased.
Music could be different. Well, if you look at the Super Bowl halftime show, which was not in English this year.
So our ability to access white churches or white food or white music is being erased?
I am concerned with the majority common American culture that we had for some time that through particularly mass immigration, I think has become much more balkanized, and I think that weakens us. And again, I'm not running away from that comment. I'm not apologizing for it.
Well, I'm way over my time. I think you're struggling to answer this question, right? Because underlying your beliefs is a sentiment that white culture is just simply better.
A Trump nominee sits for a top Senate job in front of the Senate. He is pressed to explain what makes white identity distinct, and he reaches for white churches, white food, white music, and even the Super Bowl. This isn't a serious analysis of culture. This is a grievance manifesto from somebody who thinks anything less than white English-speaking dominance is oppression. We will talk about this and all right. Look, like I said there on my clip from Instagram, obviously I don't agree with this guy at all. But what I think is good about this time is they are feeling more confident to say the quiet part out loud. And then it will be up to the American people to stand up against it, fight against it, vote for it or not. I would prefer to know the person who I'm dealing with versus somebody who's smiling in my face. And then when I'm turned around, they're talking a different story. So I obviously hope that he doesn't get nominated or go anywhere near the Senate, but that's just my 2 cents. All right, let's go over to Michelle Obama. This could have kind of been like a lesson of the day. She's really just talking about how she feels about when they go low, when they go low, we go high. But I decided to put it into quick news for a reason, and I'll tell you why after. Take a listen.
Do you really have to go high when they go low?
Now?
I mean, have you seen how low?
Yeah.
Have you seen how low? Does that mean, and my question, my version of that is, I totally understand going high when somebody goes low, but the bar is so low that staying at your own altitude still means higher. Do I actually have to go up here, or can I just stay normal? Do I have to be a saint? Do I have to be a saint, or can I? Because down here, I'm pissed off.
You know, and I explained what I meant by going high because it's been interpreted and it's been put on mugs. You hear it quoted everywhere.
Sure.
But I explained that in this book. And for me, going high is not losing the urgency or the passion or the rage, especially when you are justified in it. Mm-hmm. Going high means finding the purpose in your rage. You know, rage without reason, without a plan, without direction is just more rage. And we've been living in a lot of rage. And why do you go high? Because the opposite way of being is unsustainable. No one is happy in this place. You know, if it worked, we'd do it. Go low. Yeah. You know, it's easy to go low. It's easy to lead from your basis gut impulse, right? To react, right? To throw your hurt out there.
It's emotional junk food.
It is, and it feels good.
So, like I said, was going to put in lesson of the day. Like, that's actually really good advice, right? Surface advice. Like, going low is like your automatic instinct. Like, it's junk food, okay? But go high, think purposely, etc., etc. But why I don't like that Michelle is using it as a lesson is because when she first said that, that's not what she really meant. And the second thing is that I actually feel like at a time like this, I'm not necessarily saying when they go low, like you have to go low, but you have to sometimes meet what they're giving you with. You have to meet what they're giving you equally and stronger. For example, Minnesota, right? When things were going with ICE, and I'm not going to get into what was wrong or right, but millions came out and millions protested. Yes, they were peaceful, so you're kind of going a little bit more high. You're not doing what the ICE agents are doing, but it's not to say, well, okay, we're not going to go out on the streets, et cetera, et cetera. So I see that she's changing it a little bit, but I feel like sometimes with Republicans or with MAGA or with Donald Trump, you got to meet him where he is at and just be more forceful instead of saying, I'm just going to take the high roads. And I think that's why she's changing her original meaning. But shout out to Michelle. All right, let's go over to Stefon Diggs right now. Stefon Diggs was in court today. There was a lot of court going on. Here's Stefon Diggs. You're going to hear me talking a little bit more about this because there was nothing really in court. He didn't say anything after. So just take a listen. Stefon Diggs, keep your D in your... Stefon Diggs, keep your D in your pants. That's basically what the judge wanted to say, but couldn't. Stefon Diggs pleads not guilty after chef accused him of slapping and trying to choke her. I want to make something very clear here. This is not a civil case. Stefon Diggs could go to jail. Stefon's ex-personal chef claims the situation escalated during a dispute over money she believed she was owed. According to her account, after a text exchange about payment, Diggs allegedly entered her bedroom at his house and slapped her. She further alleged that he then attempted to choke her by placing his arm around her neck. Stefon's former chef put out this statement. I want to read a line that is the most important. All right. I purposely only just read that line on Instagram, so I wanted to read the whole thing here for you guys. And it's pretty damning. Listen, I'm speaking out now to address false information that has been shared publicly. I am a professional chef with over 10 years of experience working with public figures and in the sports industry. My reputation and integrity matter deeply to me. Claims that I engaged in settlement discussions are not true. She didn't want to take any money to settle this. Remember, Cardi B talked about her. Cardi B said, texted her, claimed that she didn't, but we know that she did, called her. We know that Stefon and Cardi allegedly has been trying to say, hey, can you just keep this quiet, take money? She's saying she never even entertained that. She went on to say, I never sought money nor engaged in settlement discussions to settle this matter. Statements suggesting otherwise are harmful and untrue. As a survivor of DV, I take these matters extremely seriously and would never make false claims to personally gain or damage someone's reputation. I do not seek public attention and reported this matter through the proper legal channels. Listen to this. This is an active criminal matter, and I will continue to respect the legal process. This is not a civil case, y'all. She don't want money. She wants Stefon Diggs to go to jail. I will not engage in rumors, personal attacks, nor respond to misinformation on social media. And I ask others to refrain from spreading false narratives. My focus is on healing my work and moving forward with integrity. I trust the legal process to address the facts, and I hope anyone following this matter will do the same. There's some big talks in there. I do know that the New England Patriots said that they are going to watch this very closely. I know they were very happy that this happened after the NFL season is over. We will follow this for you, not as closely as we did with Dawn and Diddy. I don't think I will be going to this trial, and it's not federal, so there will be cameras in there just like there was today. We follow trials that are federal because federal courts are not allowed cameras inside the courtroom. So that's what I'm bringing you because there's no cameras in there, right? So Dawn, Luigi, Diddy, and Charlie Kirk, all right? So those are the 4 cases to watch out for this this year. Maybe a little Dirk too, but we're not too sure. Okay, what next? Nancy Guthrie, Guthrie, I always pronounce her name wrong. Do you guys need any details with Stefon? I think you guys know. Anyways, I told you a little bit about it. Let's go to Nancy. I don't have any video, or I don't have any, major updates from yesterday. I think yesterday we did a pretty good deep dive into Nancy. Couple of things over the past 24 hours. They have given us a description of the alleged kidnapper. They are now saying that he is 5'9" to 5'10", an average build. They are upping the reward to $100,000. Oops, let me take this down. They're upping the reward to $100,000 reward from 50. And they say that they have good leads. That's what the sheriff said today in a press conference. What does a good lead mean? I don't know. It could mean that they have some cell phone data. It could be that they have, some other footage that they're not giving us. Maybe they have his license plate, a car. We don't know, but they're just saying we have good leads. The FBI also came out and said this was, I think it was on Fox or CNN. They came out and said the FBI will only release information that's good for them to capture the suspect. I've been saying that since the beginning. Whatever we get on TV, I even said it on TMZ yesterday, whatever we get, it's only to benefit the search. So we are at the whim of the FBI and the detectives and the sheriffs because they're not going to give us any information that they don't want the suspect to know, okay? What they will not tell us is if there is any forced entry in her house. It's been 13 days. We still do not know that fact. They were asked again today, and the sheriff said, we will not tell you if it was forced entry. Why forced entry is very important for us to know. There's a lot of people that think this is an inside job. This was family, somebody that she knew. If it was somebody who she didn't know, there would be forced entry. If I knocked on her door, she ain't going to open her door at 2:00 in the morning. I would have to have forced entry. So the fact that we don't know, people are speculating, but the fact that the guy showed up there with a mask, that should let you know that she obviously didn't know him, to me. But a lot of people still want to say, oh, it was an inside job. They still will not tell us if the person entered through the back door or the front door. And the sheriff still says that they have no reason to believe that it was family. Okay. Let me just check my phone, but I don't think there's really anything else. That was just the latest from today. Yeah, that's all we got so far. Okay. And just as a reminder, if anybody has any tips, it's 1-800-CALL-FBI. I will say this in closing about Nancy. Do you guys not think it's getting a little bit weird now? It's on its 13th day. We hear about her medication that she can't go a few days without her medication. Now it's 13 days. There was 2 deadlines. It was like last Thursday, and then it was this past Monday. That was gone. Savannah and her family said, we're willing to pay you the $6 million Bitcoin, but we need proof of life. We need something. The requirements were, no, you need to pay, or we're not showing you anything. We will not budge. Nothing has moved. Yesterday, we talked about when we're on TMZ that there is somebody emailing TMZ saying, yo, I would like $50,000, 1 Bitcoin, and I'll tell you everything you need to know. I know the kidnapper. I know the suspect. I know who you're looking for, and I know where Nancy is. Give me 1 Bitcoin. Today, he emailed TMZ again. I literally think just a couple of hours ago. And his email said, yo, we heard that the FBI has upped the reward. Now we want a partial Bitcoin, which is 50,000. And then I'll give you the information. And then when you find out that I'm right and you get her back, you can give me the next 50. But now because you guys upped the 100, I want $100,000 too. But I only want to deal with TMZ. I only want to deal with Bitcoin. And I don't want you guys to tell my name. But I'm serious about this. And again, I asked Harvey yesterday, why are they so focused on this email and this one guy giving the 50? I thought it was weird that he was asking for the 50,000. Charles and Harvey made a good point that if he was asking for 2 million, it would be egregious. He's just saying he wants the reward money. He just doesn't want to deal with the FBI, which makes sense, but I still question it. It still doesn't make sense to me. And it still doesn't make sense that the FBI wouldn't just give him the 50 or now $100,000. Like the amount of money that they're spending daily to investigate, why not just give him the $100,000? There's no reason not to think that this email is true because there's something that Harvey and TMZ has done to vet this email. You know how many emails they probably get saying, oh, we know. Why would TMZ be focused on this guy? There's got to be something there, but I still can't figure out why the government is not paying him. I just cannot figure that part out. Anyways, that is our update with Nancy. I still think that we are going to find something in the near future with Nancy. The last thing in quick news, and then we're coming to the comments, is Beyoncé is officially back on Instagram. And the reason why this is a big deal is because we all know that Beyoncé and Jay-Z got a lot of backlash last week. I think it was the week right before the Super Bowl. And that's because Jay-Z's name was in the Epstein files. Yes, we know it was an FBI tip line. It wasn't necessarily in the actual files. There was no crime. There's no nothing. It was still a tip line. Now, Jay-Z lost, I think, 3 million followers. Beyonce lost 10 million followers. And if you went to Beyonce's comment section, it was like, yo, Jay-Z in the Epstein files, divorce him. Da, 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 da. Everybody, including myself, was like, yo, what are the Carters going to do? There was rumors that they fled the country. There's rumors that they weren't going to show up at the Super Bowl. And even I said, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they don't show up at the Super Bowl, that means they know they're afraid of the backlash. And if they show up and they get booed or they get, somebody caught on camera doing something uneasy, it's going to make brands know, yo, we don't want to deal with the Carters anymore. They showed up at the Super Bowl, as everybody knows. I don't know if Beyonce was there. I'm pretty sure she was. Anyways, Jay was there like he normally is, taking pictures with him and the kids or whatever. I did see one video where people were kind of dragging him. Somebody caught him outside of a restaurant and they were asking him questions and he seemed very, very uneasy. Like, please don't say Epstein. Please don't say Epstein. So that video alone was a little bit what I was talking about. But I would say overall, the Carters came out unscathed. And that's why I think Beyonce put this picture up. Here, I'll put it up again. She put this picture up with a few other ones to kind of just test the waters. And if you look in the comment section, it's, we love the new bob. We love the outfit. Your body is tea. This, whatever, blah, blah. And there's not so much talk about Jay-Z and the Epstein files. So the Carters looks like they won again. They've come out unscathed from a scandal. And I think maybe some celebrities should take note of this. The Carters don't address anything. You say something about Nicki Minaj, she's going to on Instagram. You say something about Cardi B, she's on Twitter Spaces. You say something about 50 Cent, he's going to drag you. You say something about you say something about Jay, they don't talk because they understand that people are going to go on your Instagram. They're going to drag you. Content creators are going to talk, but they know we're going to go on to the next thing. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. We're going to talk about Epstein. We're going to talk about Stefon Diggs and Cardi B breaking up at the Super Bowl. And people have short attention spans. And it's just been a week later. And now nobody even remembers that Jay was in the Epstein files. They went unscathed. There you have it. Okay, that's it for quick news. I finished in pretty good time, 49 minutes. Let's go over to comments right now. All right. Welcome to the comment section Friday. All right, before I get into the comments, just stand by 1 minute, please. I have a quick question for you guys. Is your computer, laptop, or cell phone vulnerable to data breaches? Well, hold up. Let me answer that question for you because it's an indirect question. Yes, they are both vulnerable, or all three of them are vulnerable if you're not using Aura, the all-in-one digital security platform. Go to my sponsor below, aura.com/Trent Out Loud, to get your 14-day free trial to see if any of your data has already been exposed. If you're ever wondering how scammers get your cell phone number or why your inbox is filled with spam, here is why. There are companies called data brokers, and they sell your data, and they do it without your consent, and they make billions of dollars selling it to marketers, scammers, or even stalkers. That is why I recommend today's sponsor, Aura, to my family, friends, and Out Louders. Aura takes care of the hard part for you, automatically removing your information off of these sites and keeping it off. With Aura, you get alerts if any of your personal information is ever found on the dark web. You get real-time fraud alerts if your credit card or banking is ever found on the dark web. You also get a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, and they also have US-based round-the-clock customer service in the event that anything should ever go wrong. Aura also offers, not includes, but offers, includes but not offers a $5 million identity theft insurance protection. That means you don't have to pay for it. It's automatically included, right? I messed that up. It's Friday. Give me some grace. You may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like locking your front door and keeping your back door open. All right. If you're ever wondering why do I get crazy text messages from people I've never given my phone number to with links and all of that stuff, or hey, what's this charge on my credit card? Aura goes in on the dark web, shows you any of your information that is out there, and they take it offline for you absolutely free. All right. Don't forget to sign up for Aura today. Here is the QR code. Just take out your phones and your camera. And yeah, make sure you do not miss out on that. Also, quickly before you get to comments, for any of you that have ever been interested to say, hey, where's your PayPal or your Venmo? We want to give back to the show. We want to show some support. The best way to show your support is through a super chat while we're on live, or a super thanks with the little button below. All right. So we appreciate all of that. All right, let's get to the comment section. First of all, I need a new buzzer. All right. Black Girl Lost. Here we go. Out Louders Unite. Tasha and JD from, hey, how come we don't have the same format as yesterday? Wasn't it different yesterday? Hey. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I could change the, hold on. Oh no, that's different. Oh, I can make this bigger too. No, taller. Oh my gosh. Yesterday was like a crazy kind of like bubble or something. Oh, I am so mad. It was so cool yesterday. Anyways, whatever. I don't know how I did that yesterday. Crystal says, happy Friday, Trent, my fellow Trent Angels and Out Louders. Let's go. What up? Lorith Crawford says, hey. Mystery says, hey, Trent, streaming from the UK. Lorianne says, hi, happy Friday, everybody. What up? Natasha says, hey, Crystal, happy Friday. Mystery says, it's Friday. All right, Crystal and them are just saying hi to each other. Say hi. Somebody says, were you in the Epstein files? No, I was not, sir. All right, that's just a bot. Dawn says, did you see where Uncle Luke spoke on a party that Trump had at Mar-a-Lago that he was invited to? Look for it. No, I did not see, but I'll definitely look into that. Somebody said something bad about Donald Trump. Natasha said, been sick, but watching the show in the morning. Thank you very much for still supporting. Mystery says, I was struggling to get on tonight, had to log off and come back on. Sorry for that. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Shawnee, I think it is. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. These people need to give the public the names so we don't adhere, inadvertently support them. Totally agree. I don't think they're going to expose or prosecute any of those men. They're going to keep covering everything up, says Tara. Somebody said R. Kelly. Lori said hi from the D. What up, though? Save America Act. Patrick, sorry. Chris says, why don't Democrats release the Epstein files when they were in the White House? We already talked about that yesterday. Nobody is going to release it. There's Democrats in there and Republicans, okay? This is not the channel where you're going to hear me talk about Republicans badly. Everybody gets it here. Yes, Laura, because they were involved. Totally agree. Lasheshe said, Trent, what up, Lasheshe? What's going on? Don Lemon is not cool, somebody said. Digital says, the first charge of conspiracy is under the CLAN Act. Lasheshe, I don't know what she wrote there. He videotaped it all, shaking my head, and documented meeting them days before. Yes, and all of that is... I prove to you that all of that is legal, my friend. Legal. That is all legal. You could do that. You could get together. You could say, yes, we're going to go protest or whatever. They will have to find evidence that they agreed beforehand to go in and intimidate and force. It's not just about protesting. Penelope. Sorry, I'm so bad with names. I don't know how to pronounce that. All our crap about highways and medical president and others all blah since 1988. I don't know what that comment is about. Mystery says those charges sound flimsy against Don. What a waste of court time in the US. Totally agree with you, especially now understanding it all. And days before days before that, the conspiracy charge. Digital, that's not how it works. I'm sorry. Andrew says Don Lemon should be in prison for life. Respect that, but your feelings are not important right now when it comes to charges, because charges are facts and not feelings. Jeff says the line is not gray when you're violent. You've crossed the line and you're not allowed to walk into a place of worship like that. Yes, you are. You're allowed to walk in. Sorry, but you are. Somebody said you protest outside. Again, let's just talk about something here. I am not saying that Don and those people should have gone into the church. I'm not saying I agree with them protesting inside of a church. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that it's not against the law to walk into a church and protest. The law stipulates you cannot force, intimidate, or block the area. Crystal says, Natasha, I'm so sorry you've been sick. It's been brutal with this sickness lately. I hope you're feeling better. Digital says Biden used it and the act. Jeff says, this was for clinics and the Republicans made sure to get churches in the law. Yes, Jeff, exactly 100%. Provide is the key word. Digital said that. Lemon did nothing wrong with John. David says causing a disturbance inside a church during church service, making the church attendees uncomfortable. That's not the law. I read to you the law, David. It's not about a disturbance. It has to be intimidation or force. What about the Trumpstein files from John? Don broke all 4 key standards of the other act. Okay. Why was he there? He was there as a journalist. How did he know? Because they told him. Craftsman says, you mean the... Okay, I'm not going to read that. In my opinion, ain't this the guy who used to be on CNN spreading fake news? Well, yes, he was on CNN, but it's your opinion if you're spreading fake news, because you can deny the facts all you want, but Trump is the one that put Epstein in jail in 2008. Digital says, we know. John says, laugh out loud. Off isn't Hannity the guy spreading MAGA lies? The professor says, hey, Trent, the notifications are not working. When I watch your short today, I selected to the notify me button. I just noticed the time and checked, and you were on live. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I don't know why. I don't know. I have to check with YouTube if everybody will get notified. Every single person who's a subscriber. I will definitely look into that. Let me put that down. Live right here. Can you check if every single subscriber on my YouTube channel will get a notification when I go live? Boom, done. Okay. I will look into that here. I just asked ChatGPT. Short answer, no. Not every subscriber will automatically get a notification when you go live. Here is how it actually works on YouTube. Who gets the notifications? On YouTube, a subscriber will only get notified live. They are subscribed. Well, that's what I just asked. They have notifications set to all. You have to have notifications set to all, not just personal or none. Their device notifications are turned on. YouTube system determines they're an active viewer of your content. Even then, YouTube may limit notifications if you go live very frequently. Suppress notifications if somebody rarely watches your videos. Cap how many push notifications a user receives daily. So technically, even if somebody hits the bell, it's not 100% guaranteed. So there's the answer. Because I go live every day, that could be a reason why they don't send you a notification every single day. And also too, maybe because my shorts are very active, and they might just tell you about a short or tell you about it. So there's not it's not guaranteed that you get notified. But what it says is just make sure the option that you're clicking for notification is on all. That should probably help. And thank you for that comment. Tara says, I don't feel Don is guilty. He has every right to cover that church protest. I agree with you, Tara, especially now that I understand the law. Dom and the protesters were asked to leave while causing this disturbance. That's David. Yeah, and Don left, if I'm not mistaken, after that. But again, is that intimidation and force? It's not disturbance. It's intimidation, force, blocking the entryway. Dom is there is recording of him planning it. Again, I thought that too, but planning to protest is not illegal. Planning to intimidate or force would be illegal. One thing you can do is that you can't play with me once I know the law. And it took me a while to get here because people weren't giving me the right answers, and now I know. You can plan a protest, it's no problem. Oops. I hope Lemon gets 10 years. That's, I think, Wyoming. John says, MAGA are saying guilty by association. Crafton says, you better read the law, and the law says you can't even disturb a church. That's not true. This is conspiracy. Okay. I was getting ready to say, please don't start spreading misinformation. That's the capital. FACE Act is minor compared to the other act. It's about civil rights violation. Crafton says, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, thank you very much. The professor said, happy Friday. Craftman says, pull up the law and read it. He is unemployed. He has no colleagues. Emily says, hello, Trent. Why they keeping his phone so long? Not too sure. Anybody with a cell phone can say they're a journalist these days. We've actually had that question answered in the Milagro case. And Milagro was granted by the court permission to go under classification of journalist. And you would have to prove, like, I am technically a journalist because I could prove that I bring the news on a consistent basis. I mean, I do a daily show, but even if I were to do, let's say, like a weekly show, and you could prove that My job or something that I am doing is journalism if I'm reporting, even if I'm more opinionated than reporting and being unbiased. So it's very easy to prove that Don was a journalist. All right. Somebody says Don Watermelon went to jail. Excuse me. John says he has 10 times the assets you do. Somebody said, be quiet. Watermelon, yes. You will be silenced, melon. The notifications are still wonky. I watched your short and selected notify me, but didn't receive a notification. Thanks, Professor. John says Trump must go to jail for going to the Epstein Island, guilty by association. That's John. Dick Darcy says, yes, he's definitely guilty. Katie says, howdy, Trent. Katie and Andrew from West London listening in Brooklyn. Hey, your guys are in the U.S. What up, what up, what up? What up, Andrew and Katie? Kim says, happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody is well. Crystal says, hey, all you MAGA people in the chat, instead of talking ish, how about you listen to Trent? He knows what he is talking about, and the things he doesn't know, he doesn't pretend to know. That's 100% true. Stop telling him how to do his job because he is more knowledgeable and trustworthy than most, if not all, of the other people reporting on this stuff. He doesn't pretend his research. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate you. And she said, hey, Kim. Hey, Friday loves. A happy Friday, love. Glad to see you. The professor said the television view is much better if you watch it from home. There we go. There we go. Crystal has said also too, and Kim was saying about the mobile and TV. I might decide to stop doing both. Let me just do a little bit of research. I'm actually talking with YouTube right now. I might make some changes coming up soon, but we'll see. David says it showed. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Professor said, hey, Kim and Crystal. Says it's a wonderful mind over matter. Don Lemon can't get away with this. Tell me what the act the first charge was under. Crystal said, hey guys, if you're liking the comment, please hit the like button. Thank you, Crystal. That's my question, Digital. Good evening, out loud and Trent. What up, Felicia? Nicki Minaj can. I can't read that, Kim, but that's funny. Next, Tara says Nicki needs to sit her down somewhere. She's calling her fans to go for that. They are idiots just like her. Thanks, Tara. Digital says if you can get the answer, I will hit the like button. It is common sense to you. I'd buy you a beer, but don't need to vote in this election. That's from David. Digital says he seems to be avoiding it. I'm not avoiding anything, but okay. Hey, Felicia and David. Digital Warriors. That's Kim just saying hi to everybody. Somebody says yes. Here's a new comment. Brooklyn says it is always a useful tool to be used. Nikki fits perfectly. Clay says, doesn't California have a law that prevents voting polls from asking for ID? Well, that's what Donald Trump and them are supposed to be changing right now. Crystal says, Trent will read and respond to our comments once he's done reporting. Thanks, Crystal. Sarah says, I watched on my TV and comment on my phone. Woo, go Tara. Go Tara. David says, I don't know what this guy's talking about. We're going to skip David's comments here. Digital says, I am Canadian and had a US DL. DL isn't good in California. Okay, we're going to skip that. All right, here. Tara says, Nikki can't vote. So what is she talking about? Something is seriously wrong with her. I keep on saying that people are really getting fed up with Nicki Minaj. Digital says, yes, I also worked for the U.S. military in Osaka, Japan for 5 years as a Canadian. Hey, Digital, thank you for your service, even though I don't agree with some of your comments, but thank you for your service. Kim says, I'm driving, but listening to the show and will not be commenting. All right, Kim, drive safe. Professor says, Nicki is trying to convince everyone she's right, and we accept this perspective. However, please accept that we do not accept your perspective. That's funny. Hold the comment section down, Crystal. That's from Kim. Emma says, thanks, Tara. That's good advice. Emma says, hey, Kim, it's Friday. Mystery says, we can't do a physical vote without ID in the UK. Kim is just saying hi. Trump trying to assess another racist. He's a total loser. Let's put it that way. Same thing is happening here in Canada. Boom, boom, boom. Digital says, it's so bad here. I tell my biracial son to say he's Japanese when he attends something next year. I think university. Crystal says, hey, Kim, I'm going to try to keep the comment section down, but I'm driving home. I didn't know that it was your drive home, Crystal. Let's agree Caucasian churches can be boring. Caucasian food can be bland, and we're not even going to speak about the music. That was from Kim, by the way. That was not my comment. Paul says, in Europe, we are fighting to survive. In a white culture, we are fighting to stop the mass R-word of women and children. Okay, sorry, I cannot read the rest of that. Wow, the first lady that can pull together a sentence. Haven't seen that in the last year. That's from Good Guy Flex. Says, I agree with Kim. Crystal, fight the power with power. Don't back down. Exactly. I love that, Tara. Aries says, Miss Obama is such a class act, articulate, poised, and always clear in her message. She already addressed this in her book, so this isn't a new take or sudden shift. I'm just saying, I know it's not a sudden shift, but I don't believe that's how she meant it when she first said it. And I think she's changing it now because we see with Trump that when he goes low and you go high, it's just like, y'all are soft. Like, you need to meet him where it's at with more force. And I think Michelle knows that. I think even at the DNC convention, she alluded to the fact of like, I know I said when they go low, we go high, but yo, let's go. Let's get them, Anyways, love Michelle. Crystal said, be nice. Katie says, jail may be good for Stefon, as there may be less babies being produced for a while. That's funny, Katie. Sarah says, I think it's very weird. Maybe she's no longer here and they can't prove proof of life. I know that's really sad. That's just a bot. Somebody said, so sad praying. So this is Emily. So sad praying for Nancy. It is very, very, very sad. Emily says, I don't want to pay because they don't have proof of life. Facts. Renee says, rewind. As long as the House or Congress says it's on the floor, I thought they would be safe. The professor says, yes, the format is different from yesterday. Hold on. It was Sparkle says, Trump is doing so many great things, and the SAVE Act would put the Dems away from power for good. Hold on. Trump is doing so many great things, and the SAVE Act could put the Dems away from power for good. Well, at least you know what they're doing or what they're trying to do. And you're admitting it, Sparkle. Appreciate that comment. Somebody said, corny show. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sparkle says, any blacks who still vote for the Dems is under a bad mentality. Thanks to MAGA. Else we wouldn't be here with the Epstein files. Yeah, you got to give credit to MAGA. They were the ones to push the agenda. But tell me now why Donald Trump is not putting them out properly. Mystery says, great show again tonight. Thanks for the updates on the entertainment news. Thank you very much, Mystery. Trump is the architect, and there's so many Uncle Toms out there. It's just hilarious. That's from Jerry. Kim says, thanks, Ovalin, for your comment. Keep them coming. Sparkle says, it's against the law to protest in church. What are you talking about? Okay. Sparkle says, you don't know how many people were jailed during the Biden administration for going into a clinic. It's about the way you protest, by the way, but because you can't say that a group of people can't enter a church. It's the way how you're protesting. But read a lot, do your research. Or you know what? Ask the 4 judges that agreed with me and said it wasn't against the law. You don't have to believe me. I'm just a content creator. I'm just a YouTuber. I was finding a hard way to explain it to you guys because there weren't too many people that even understood it themselves. I asked a bunch of lawyers, and you see it took a little while. And what I found out today is the fact that this is unprecedented, and how could they even think to charge him for this? But now we understand the walking in is not breaking the law. Saying things or protesting or holding up a sign, that's not breaking the law. It's the intimidation part about it. But I've already said all I could say. Sparkle says, Trump is the one who put Epstein in jail, and that's why Epstein hated Trump. Okay, so why not put out all the unredacted files right now? I hate those points. Lewis something, British journalist used to accompany and film live. Oh, hold on. Lewis something, British journalist used to accompany and film live legal acts. Really? Thank you, Katie, for that. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, Lewis something, but important to know. Priscilla says, are you the one that was freezing the other day? That was me in Minnesota. Sparkle says, you're just protecting Don Lemon which is sickening, as you never support any right-wing journalist like Nick Shirley. Did you support Nick Shirley? Truthfully, I don't know who Nick Shirley is, but if you give me his information, or maybe I'll look it up, because I'm all about the law. Don't forget, I was the one that said, if you go back to January 18th or 19th, my title was, Don Lemon might be going to jail. People dragged me because I was like, yo, he was outside. You cannot know that someone's going to go and break the law and follow and go into him. I'm like, he might go to jail. And people got mad at me for that. My own followers got mad at me for that. They're like, oh, I thought you were on his side. I'm not here to be on Diddy's side. I'm not here to be on Trump's side. I'm not here to be on Don Lemon's side. I might like Don Lemon. I might want to be on his side because he's a journalist or because he's a YouTuber or a content creator. I might want to, but I'm always going to be spitting the facts because I'm all about facts and receipts. So as much as I might like somebody or want somebody to win, I will literally come on here and be like, yo, Don broke the law and he needs to go to jail. I don't care. I really don't. Right? It's the same way how when I talked about Diddy, it said, I don't think he should be in jail for 5 years. I hate what he did to Cassie, but I don't like the one charge that they got him on, which was just transportation. He put a prostitute in an Uber from New Jersey to New York, and that's what he's in jail for. Yeah, do your research, because I was in the courtroom the whole entire time. So people drag me for that too, but that's just my opinion. Yes, should he go to jail for this, for that? Yeah, but nobody in the history of the United States has gone to jail for 5 years for transportation of prostitution. So I'm always going to talk about the fact and the law. So it has nothing to do with I like Don or I don't like Don or whatever. I literally thought he was going to jail. Now that I understand the law and understand exactly what he did with premeditation, knowing, and walking in, he didn't break the law. And that's exactly why the judges did not allow the DOJ to press charges, and they had to go to a grand jury. And that's why I can all but almost guarantee, unless there is some evidence that we don't know about, because it is still sealed, if they unseal it and they show, like I said, a text message where Don was like, oh, you're going to go to intimidate churchgoers? Cool, I can't wait to go. Then I'll say Don should be put in jail. Hope that makes sense. I'm protecting Don Lemon. What do you think I care about Don Lemon like that? You know what I mean? Jeez. Sparkle, would you be okay with journalists going to a clinic or a? Okay, when I already just spoke about that. Hey Trent, love you. We love you in Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you. I am a lemon head for 20 years. He knows what he is doing. Let's all calm down and drink some lemonade. That's cool. That's cool. That cool, refreshing drink. Thank you very much. So I don't know how to pronounce your name. The Bayou. I appreciate that. And thank you for joining. Crystal says that prevents Trent to answer your notification question. Yes, subscribers will have to hit all under the bell, but prior to you going live. Yeah. Thanks, Crystal. There will be an upcoming video post on your page, and and that notifies. Sorry, I know this is Crystal's talk to text, so let me figure it out. On your page, and there's a notify me button. Oh, sorry, I was reading it that wrong. And there's a notify me button under your upcoming post, so people have to select that too. Oh, I understand. There will be an upcoming video post on your page, and there's a notify. Yeah, so when I'm here setting it up, you'll see that post, and it says notify me when that goes live. But I think what the professor was talking about is just a general notification. But now we know that regardless, they won't send it out every single day. Hey Roxanne, thank you for your comment. Please coming back. That's from Kim. Spark said Michelle Obama is no class act, but a DEI hire. How was she a hire? She was Barack Obama's wife. Kim is saying hi to some people. Same thing has been happening to me. No notification. I just happened to open my phone and see that you were posting something. Kim put a bunch of lemons in the chat. That's funny. We are doomed under this administration. That is Tanisha. Sparkle says, please, it would be better if you would be sincere and say you are biased towards the left. Okay, whatever, Sparkle. Biden jailed elderly religious women who went to something to pray. Okay, Sparkle, I think we have I've addressed enough of your comments. A wild Trent in the natural habitat. All right, we got to the end of comments. Thank you very much, everybody, for your comment. Even though, we have difference of opinion sometimes, we love all comments around here, okay? I'm going to go over to lesson of the day right now. I'll do my sign out, and then I'll come back for any final comments that may be coming through. Hold on, let me go over here. All right. So, yes, I got to end this and go to lesson of the day. All right, let's go. All right. Let's jump right into this. This is really good. This is a content creator. Her name is Amani. I actually know her quite well. This is about her getting married and leaving a good guy to get married. It's not so much about the relationship or marriage why I'm playing it, but I want to show you guys how something could be really good in your life, and it doesn't mean that you can't leave that for better or leave just for your instinct. So that's really what I'm talking about here. You guys know I'll take any example and put it towards friendship, work, or love. So she's talking about marriage, but just think about a job that you might have that might be really, really good, but it's not your passion. And you know that you're not 100% fulfilled. Or you can have a good friend, but it's like, there's a couple, this is the person who I'm going to hang out with today. So this is really about never settling even for 90% or even for 95%. If you know in your gut, you can get that 100. Take a listen.
A girl who 2 years ago, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend and I said he was good, great even, but he wasn't my husband. And all the incels, even some women were like, what? You left a good man? You left a good man? See, this is why women are single. This is why you'll never find a husband. Here's the thing. High standards do nothing but good. If your standards do not eliminate most, they aren't high enough. You only marry one person. So yeah, Good wasn't good enough. Now I actually have the person that I should be with, right? Lord willing, we'll make it to the altar. We'll pray over everything. But never let nobody tell you that you're doing too much. Especially as a woman when it comes to your life partner, knowing that this man is going to lead you, be the father of your children one day maybe. You're going to have to live with this man, maybe for 50 years. Never let nobody tell you that you're doing too much. There's no such thing as too much. Yeah.
I love that. And if you notice at the bottom, she's going viral with this. And Lori Harvey said, what did she say at the bottom? She said something like, yeah, I agree with you, or like, yeah, you go girl, or something like that. Lori Harvey said, you ain't wrong, queen. Congratulations. So Amani she does not play around. Like this is not just her just doing this for the camera. She don't joke around. She does not play around. But I just love the message of don't let anybody ever tell you you're doing too much. What do you mean I'm doing too much? What are you talking about? Yo, you're working too hard. What are you talking about? Yo, I'm going to close my stores and I'm going to be a content creator. Bro, you already have everything. You have success. You have this, you have that. You know how many people would love to have a Nike account, love to have this? Yo, just stay with your stores. Don't close down your stores. And what are you talking about? Just because you were in the music industry before, and just because you were in entertainment, just because you're in whatever, yo, just be happy. You know how many people would love to be in your situation? Nah. I have this feeling in me, man. I'm going to start this podcast that I'm going to turn into a show. I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to be a streamer. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're doing too much. You could be at 90, and if you feel like you're missing that 10, you go out and get it. I don't care if you're at 95. Amani said she was with a great guy. She was great, but she was like, that's not my husband. And people are like, how could you leave that guy? Don't let anybody ever tell you you're doing too much. Shout out to Armani. All right, let's jump over to my side now. All right. Thank you very, very, very much for a great show. Thank you very much for a great week of great lives. I mean, we only did a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday live this week because I was in Minnesota Monday. Well, actually, I did a live outside of the Don Lemon Courthouse. We're calling it the Don Lemon Courthouse now. But yeah, great week. Thank you very much for y'all for tuning in. And also, I just want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. All the Trent angels out there and everybody listening. Thank you very much for all your support, and I hope you guys have a great and beautiful Valentine's Day, all right? And may you find whatever you want to find this Valentine's Day. Also, before I let you guys go, I just want to remind you of a couple of things, 3 quick things. While we're online, if you'd like to give back, you can do so with a super thanks or a super chat. Also, do not forget to sign up for the Out Loud membership. You'll see a join or membership button above me. And also, do not forget the first link below. Sign up for Aura today. If you're ever wondering, is my credit card out there in La La Land, social security number? Does anybody have it? Is there any? Aura lets you know any of your information that's on the dark web, your phone number, anything. They wipe it off literally for free for the next 14 days. All right. So make sure you click the first link below. Also, before I let you go, I just want to remind you of the 3 ways to stay up to date with the Trent Out Loud show. If you like podcast platforms, if you like listening on podcast platforms, go to any pod site, type in Trent Out Loud. The show will pop up. Do not forget to hit the follow or subscribe button so you can be notified every time we upload a new show. And we upload 5 days a week. So those are for podcast people. Now, if you're like me and you need video in your life, head on over to YouTube, type in Trent Out Loud. 6 things I'm going to need you to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have a hype button, hit that as well too, because we need to get the algorithming. Please comment. I love all the live comments, but we need comments underneath the videos as well too, all right? So please try to comment after the show. For those of you who don't want to join in on the conversation, I don't want to feel pressured. Every night before I go to bed, I read all the comments, and I love to see the people that let me know the city or the country they're watching from. I love to know how global the show is. So if you don't want to join in on the conversation, no pressure. Let me know where you're watching from. 4th thing, and it's very important, if you're enjoying the show, if you like the platform, and you feel like you have friends, family members that are like-minded, please try to share this channel with them. This is new media. We're trying to grow for the next 20, 30 years. So please help us by sharing this platform. And the fifth and sixth thing are sign up for the Out Loud membership. And do not forget the super thanks and super chat. The third way to keep up with the Trent Out Loud show is new for 2026. We are streaming live weekdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, 2 streams, Twitch, Instagram, and Kick. So make sure you guys check us out there, right? Live and interaction. Those are the 3 ways: podcast, video, and streaming. Now, for those who want to follow me outside of the show, I'm available on all social platforms, and it's always the same handle, Trent Out Loud. I'm the most active on Instagram. And speaking of IG, you got to follow the Trent Out Loud show on Instagram. I have a lot of fun out there. It's a way for me to stay connected with you on the weekends, in the morning, in the lunch, even at night, breaking news, or just some funny videos. And it's a little bit more informal than we are on here, all right? Sometimes I'm in my robe. Sometimes I don't even have my shirt on. Sometimes I have a do-rag on. Just here to have fun. So make sure you follow. If you like this content, you'll really love our Instagram page, okay? And that's the Trent Out Loud show on IG. All right, let me go back over. We got a couple more. We have a couple more comments, and then we'll sign out for the weekend. Crystal says, Trent, I was thinking about that today about you. I think you should go back to posting 1 live instead of 2. Thank you, Crystal. Sparkle said, blessed y'all. Katie says, if you feel something in your gut, you must follow the instinct. It is always right. The professor says, thanks for sharing. You're not doing too much. I'm a forever learner in every aspect of life. Appreciate that. The professor also says, I'm working in my flower shop now, preparing for a world of love acknowledgement tomorrow. Hey, that's super cool, professor. Didn't know you had a flower shop. Somebody said, hey, I think Cheryl G. Somebody says, what's going on? Crystal says, yes, I agree. If your current situation is not meeting your standards and internal passion, never settle, because you will never find fulfillment in life by settling. Crystal always comes in with the sentences after. I love that, Crystal. And I totally agree with you. Bridget says, good night, Trent, and all the Out Louders. Crystal says, if you don't find fulfillment in your life, you will never find, I think I just read this again. You'll never find true love, happiness, and completion. You will be on that bed wondering what if. And Crystal always likes having the last word. My coworker, Crystal, with the last word before Valentine's Day and the last word for the weekend. Drum roll, please. Happy Valentine's Day, Trent, my fellow Trent Angels and Out Louders. Will you give us members a special members-only Valentine's Day video? Oh, Crystal, thanks for putting pressure on me, man. I am super tired this weekend from all the traveling, and I didn't even take a day off on Wednesday, but I do owe you guys a member-only video. I don't know if I'll do it on Valentine's Day, but you will definitely get one coming up, all right? My Valentine's Day gift was giving you the last word, okay? I love y'all very, very much. Have a very, very happy Valentine's Day, and be safe out there. I will see you guys Monday on the Trent Out Loud show. Have a great weekend. Thank you for all the love this past week. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Peace!